Hello and welcome to another Java tutorial. Now in the last video we just learned about the various features of Java and a little bit of its history. Now in this video we're gonna finally download the tools that we need in order to code in Java. Now if you have already set up your development environment, if you already have JDK and NetBeans or Eclipse downloaded and you just wanna learn Java coding, then please skip this video and go to the next video, because in this video we're just gonna set up our environment. So let's get started. So first of all we have to do is download something called JDK. Now what the heck is that? Now JDK basically means Java Development Kit. In order to code in Java, you will need things like JVM or Java Virtual Machine, the Java Compiler or Java C, and Java Archiver or JAR, and you will also need Applet Viewer, and all things like this are packed inside something called Java Development Kit or JDK. It comes from Oracle and you have to download that. So first of all, let's go to Google and write download JDK and just click on the first link that comes here and it will take you to a page like this. Now from here there are two options, Java SE downloads. Here you can download only Java, and here you can download NetBeans and JDK full packed. Now for this tutorial we're going to use a different IDE called Eclipse. But you can also use NetBeans. Okay, so if you are comfortable with NetBeans, you can download this package and you don't have to download anything else. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to download the JDK only. So you go and click on that. Once you click on that, you will be taken to a page like this. In this page, you have to check the version for which you are going to download. Now I'm on Windows, so I'm going to download the Windows 64-bit. But if you're on Linux or Mac, you can download this or this depending on your OS. But before clicking the download button, make sure to accept the license agreement, otherwise it will not permit you to download. So just go and click on that, and now from here click the suitable and just go and download it. Now once you have downloaded it, you need to install it, and you need to also first of all, you need to unzip it and then you need to install it. So make sure to check out the directory in which you have installed it. As an example, most probably it will give you in C program files Java folder. Make sure to remember wherever you have installed. Okay. So now the next thing we need to do is download something called Eclipse. So let's go to Google and write download Eclipse. Now, Eclipse is called an IDE or integrated development environment. It makes our job a lot easier. So go to Google and write download Eclipse and click on the very first link, and you will be taken to a page like this, Eclipse downloads. And from here you have to download the Eclipse IDE for Java developers. Okay, now from here you can choose 32-bit or 64-bit. Click on that and it will take you to a page like this. From here just click on this and Eclipse will be downloaded. Now make sure to remember in which folder you have installed Eclipse. Okay, otherwise you cannot you cannot just go and search for Eclipse. Now I have installed my Eclipse inside the D and a specific folder for Eclipse. So I have installed mine here. You can install it anywhere, it doesn't matter, but make sure to remember it. So inside, after downloading, when you go inside the folder, you will see written Eclipse, and here you will see application, and here's Eclipse. Here you will see the icon of Eclipse. So all you have to do is right click here, and when you right click here, and you have to do send to desktop. Okay, so this is basically means we are going to create a shortcut in the desktop so that we can access it. Otherwise it's not gonna create a shortcut for you by default. Okay, so once you have done that, the next thing we need to do is we need to set up the path of the JDK. Otherwise we cannot code. If we don't set the path of the JDK, Eclipse will never find JDK and will never be able to code. So all you have to do is first of all go to your control panel. Okay, go to your control panel, click on System and Security, and click on System. Control panel, System and Security, System. Now from here you will see a tab called Advanced System Settings. So click on that, and after you click on that, here you will see something called Environment Variable. So just go and click on that, and So here we have to create a new environment variable. So click on new and name the variable name path, P-A-T-H. And for the value of the variable, we have to give the path of the JDK. Now here you have to remember wherever you have installed your JDK. Okay, so now wherever you have installed your JDK, just copy and paste that path here. Now I have installed my JDK inside my computer, C, program files, Java, JDK, and bin. Make sure to go inside the bin folder. Okay, after you go to the JDK folder, go inside the bin folder. Now click on the first one and go and right click it and select properties. So we can copy the path from here and paste it right there. So go and copy the location. Okay, C, program files, Java, JDK, bin. Go and copy it. Now we have to paste it inside the path. So go to that path and for the variable value, just go and paste it. Now click on OK and OK and OK. Now everything is set up and we are ready to create Java program. Now in case you are not sure if you have set it up or not, just go to your command prompt and write Java minus version, V-E-R-S-I-O-N, Java minus version, and just press enter. Now when you press Java minus version and press enter, it will show the Java version that is installed in your computer. Now if the path isn't set up correctly, this will not show. Okay, so if this doesn't show, then you have made some errors. Okay, so that's it for this video. In this video we just set up our Java and Eclipse. In the next video we'll start writing real codes. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it helped. Thank you. Make sure to subscribe and ask me if you have any comments. Thank you. To another Java tutorial. Now in the last video we just set up our development environment. We downloaded and installed JDK and Eclipse, and we also set up the class path for Java so that Eclipse can find JDK. Now in this video we're gonna write our very first Java program. So all you have to do is go and start Eclipse. Click on that and Eclipse will open like this. Now it's really important to set up the class path first of all. So if you haven't set up the path for the JDK, you make sure to watch the previous video and set it up, because only downloading Eclipse and JDK will not work. You have to set up the path. So let's get started. So the first thing you have to do is click on File, New, Java Project. So we're gonna create a very first Java project, and I'm gonna name it Java tutorial. So let's click Finish here, and as you can see in the Package Explorer, you guys can see that a new Java tutorial project has been created. So here you can see a small triangle, blue line. So just press that and it will expand. And here is JRE system library. So here are all the libraries that we are using given by the JDK. And here you will see something called SRC or source. Now this is where we're gonna create all our new classes. Now a Java project is basically is made of a bunch of classes. So you have to create a lot of classes. So we need to have at least one class in order to create our very first Java program. So just right click on SRC, right click here, new class. Make sure to select the class. So this pop-up will open and you have to name your class something like, I'll name it tutorial, and make sure these things are checked. Public static void main, you can, and check the public static void main. Okay, check it and click Finish. Now since we have it will take some time. Now since we have selected the public static void main, it have already created all these things for us. Okay, so let's go and delete these things. I hate this. Also delete that. We only need this. Okay, so let's go and save it. Yeah, save it. So this is basically our very first Java program, and the editor has already created that. Now this is a class, public class tutorial. Now as I've said, you have to have a class in a Java program in order to run it, and inside that we have a method called main. Now you have to have a main method in a Java program. Now there are various ways to create a Java program without a main method, but basically standard way is to you have a main method, and its format should be like this: public static void main string arrays args. And I'm going to explain each and everything later. Okay, so first of all, let's create something so that we can see that we have already created a program. So write with me system dot out dot println. Oh, why it freezes. System dot out println, and without, and then write within quotations, write my first Java program runs. Okay, and at the last give a semicolon. Make sure to give the semicolon. Just save it. Make sure to make the S capital. Okay, system.out.println my first Java program. So let's go and click on the green triangle here. It will run the program. Run it, and it should run. And as you can see here, it says my first Java program runs. So this is your first Java program. You have run it. Congratulations. So let's explain a bit about these things. The first thing, as I've told, whenever you create your class, public class tutorial, a class is already created. Now inside the class, you have to have a main method. Okay, you have to have a main method inside your class. Now this main method is basically the starting point of our program. Okay, so all these things are started from this main program. The whole Java program that we're gonna create later will start from this main program in our tutorial class. Okay, and this basically means sending some parameters to main. This string means oh, you will later understand what are strings, and this is an array which you will also later understand. Now as of now, you have to only understand that this is the standard format for a Java program. So you have to do this. Okay, public static void main, and inside that you can write anything. Now system.out.println, whatever we have written here, it basically prints a line on the screen. Okay, so it basically prints a line on the screen. So that is why when you run it, the main method runs and it prints the line on the screen. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial. In this video, we just created our very first program and ran it. In the next video, we'll understand the main method and why do we need this, and we'll study these things deeply. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it helped, and if you have any questions, write those in comments, and make sure to subscribe and like. Please subscribe. Thank you. Hello and welcome to another Java tutorial. Now in the last video, we just created our very first program. Now we haven't understood all these things clearly. I have increased the font size a bit so that you guys can see it clearly. Now in this video, we will understand the main method, what this public static void means, and all that crap. So let's get started. So let me go and delete this and create it from scratch so that you guys can understand everything. So as I've said, our program has an entry point where the program really starts. Now this entry point is our main method. It is called a method. We'll learn more about methods in later lessons. So first of all, we have to create a method called main. So let's go and name it main. And the standard method of creating a method, I'm not going to say like that. The standard way of creating a method is writing the name of the method, giving a pair of parentheses, and giving a pair of curly braces. Okay, now this is the standard way of creating a method. So as I've said, we're gonna create a method called main, then we're gonna give a pair of parentheses, and then we're gonna give it a pair of curly braces. Okay, Seems fine. Now this main program is going to be the entry point of our program. Okay, so if we want this to be the entry point of our program, we want all other things of our program to access this. Okay, so in order to make all other things of our program to access this, we have to make it a public method. Okay, now public means everyone can access it, use it, take information from it, and all that. So we have to create it public. So let's go and select public. So public means everyone can access that. It is a public property, a public domain, you can say. Makes sense? Okay, now the next catch we have is, as I have said, main method is basically the starting point or the entry point of our program. But since Java is an object-oriented programming language, so we have to create an object to run our program. So here's a catch. We have to create an object to create our very first program, but we cannot create an object since let me put it this way. In order to call a method of a class, here main is a method of class tutorial. Okay, so in order to call a method of a class, we have to create an object of that class. But in order to create an object of this class, we have to call the main method. So there's a what can you say, there's a catch, or there's a puzzle like thing, because in order to call the main method, we have to create an object of the tutorial class, but in order to create the object of the tutorial class, we have to call the main method. So we have to find a way so that we can create an object, we can call the main method without creating an object of this tutorial. So we have to find a way so that we can call the main method without creating any object. Okay, but the property of a Java program is you have to create an object to call a method, but we need to call the main method without creating an object, since this is the starting point of our program and we don't have any object till now. So in order to do that, we have to make this method static. Now static means that we can call this main method without creating any object. So now you guys can understand why we make it static. Now we have to give each and every method a return type. Now return type means what we want the program to return us. As an example, if we give the return type of a program integer or int, the program will return us an int like 2, 4, 5, 1, 2, everything. If we make it char or character, it will return us a character. Now we don't want the main method to return us anything. So since we don't want the main method to return us anything, we have to make it type void. So making the return type void means we don't want the main method to return us anything, or we want it to return us void. Got it? So that is how we got public static void main. Now as a standard practice, inside main method we have to give an argument called string, an array of string called args. Okay, now this thing basically means an array. An array is a bunch of objects together. Now here we are creating an array of strings. Now what are strings? Strings basically means words or sentences, whatever. So at this point we can give our main method some arguments from outside using these strings. Now you don't have to, if you're a total beginner, you don't have to understand this thing properly. Just make sure that you put this in each and every program. So this is how we create our very first main program. Now let's go and run it. Now it will not do anything since I haven't written anything here. Okay, It will not do anything since I haven't written anything here, so it will not write anything. So this is it. I think you guys have understand everything about public static void main and the string args. If you have any further questions, make sure to write those in comments. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. In the next video, we'll probably do some more fun stuff. This is the basic things of Java which you have learned in this tutorial. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it helps. Please make sure to subscribe. Please click the subscribe button and like button. Thank you. Hello and welcome to another Java tutorial. Now in the last video we just learned about the main method. We learned what this public static void main means and what it is doing here. So if you don't know about these things, just go and check out the last video. So in this video we're going to learn how to print a line of text in Java, and it's going to be very useful. So let's get started. Now the very first thing I want you guys to know is that we are going to learn about methods and classes in upcoming videos, but for the sake of this tutorial you should have a very basic understanding. So a method is something that we call whenever we want to achieve some tasks. Okay, so a method does a simple task and then it stops execution. So suppose I'm going to print something, so I will call a method which will print something. Okay, so the very first thing we have to do is we have to write a method. So for printing we have a method called print. So I'm gonna just go and write print, and within the parentheses I'm gonna give a pair of double quotation marks, and whatever I'm gonna print on the screen I'm gonna write inside it. So I'm gonna write I'm a Java programmer and make sure to end it with a semicolon. Okay, so we have written a print method, and inside it we have written I am a Java programmer. So what it will do is it will go and print it. We want it to print it inside our console window here. Okay, let's go and delete that first of all, I think. Okay, so here's our method. But in any object-oriented programming language, Java is an object-oriented programming language. In any object-oriented programming language, in order to call a method, first of all, we have to create an object of a class to which this method belongs to. Okay, so we have to create an object of a class, and then we can call a method of that class. Okay, now the print method belongs to a class named printstream. Okay, the print method belongs to the printstream class, but the problem is we cannot create any object of printstream class because we don't have access to that. So Java has given us another option. It has given us a class called system. So inside the system class we have a field called out. That's a static field. So whenever we call the system, the out field of that system class, Java internally creates an object of printstream class for us. As I've said that the print method belongs to the printstream class, and in order to call print we need an object of the printstream class. So whenever we write system.out.print, so what happens is this system.out creates an object of the printstream class internally so that we can call the print method. So now if I go and run it, as you can see, if I go and run it in the console window, you can see that it is written that I am a Java programmer. So this thing gets printed. So this is how we print a line of text in Java. It's very simple, but I just wanted to give you guys the core concept inside this. Now there's another problem. Suppose I'm gonna print another thing in the next line, like I am 2. So oops, yes. So whenever I go and run it now, as you can see that it prints I am a Java programmer, and after that it just prints I am 2. But we don't want to do that. What we want is we want this I am 2 to be printed in the next line. So in order to print a line in the next line, instead of using the print method we have to use something called println method. So what the println method does is it just prints this method, and then whatever comes next, that will be printed on the next line. So let's go and write println here. So this ln, whenever this ln is added with the print, this method just prints it on the new line. So if I now go and run it, as you can see that those two things gets printed on the next line. And we have another option too, but I think this is pretty cool. So this was the very basics of how to print a line of text in Java, and I just gave you concept of how to call system.out to create an object of the printStream class. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and love this tutorial. So please subscribe, and if you have any questions, just go and write those in comments and ask me anytime. So thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video. Java tutorial, and in this video we're going to learn about variables and primitive data types in Java. Now first of all, let me tell you what are variables. Now in order to write a Java program, we have to create temporary places where we can put some values, and then we can make additions, subtractions, multiplications, or whatever we want to do. So in order to do these operations like addition, multiplication, we have to store a value inside something, inside a temporary place. So variables are just temporary place where we can store some values, and then we can use them in our calculations or whatever program we want to write. So in order to create a variable, we have to first of all write the name of the variable. Suppose I name my variable var, and before the name of the variable we have to write the data type of the variable. Okay, we have to write the data type of the variable. So what is a data type? First of all, let us understand that the data type is the type of the data. So inside var we want to store a data, so we have to make the data type of it the type of data we want to store inside it. As an example, we have several different primitive data types in Java. We have int. So whenever we declare the data type as int, it's taking some time. Whenever we declare the data type as int, we can store inside it only integer values. So here the var variable is declared as an int variable or as an integer variable, so we can put integers inside it. We can also create we can also create float variables. Now float basically means variables with a decimal point, numbers with a decimal point. So inside floats we can store float variables, that is variables with a decimal point. Now in order to make the Java compiler understand that this is float variable, you have to put an f here. So this f means that this is a float value. Okay, now like that we also have a character data type. So character is represented at char. So inside char we can put a single character, and within we have to put it inside a single quotation marks. So just put a single quotation marks. Inside that we can store whatever character we want, A, B, C, or whatever. Okay, so we also have a string data type. So inside string we can store a string of data or a string of characters, and we have to put a double quotation marks here. So inside that I can put a string of characters or whatever we want. Suppose I want to write Raja, or Raja is cool, or whatever I want, and then make sure to put a semicolon at the end. We also have another data type called Boolean. So what is Boolean? Boolean means we can store inside it only two values. One is true, another is false. So either we can put a value false here, or we can put a value true here. So Boolean variable can take only two types of values. That is, one of them is true, another is false. So these are the basic data types of Java. There are also other data types, like we have a double data type which can store a float value, but it has a higher range. That is, it can store more higher float values or bigger float values. We also have a long data type. That long data type can store longer values which cannot be stored in integer. We also have a byte data type. We can store very small chunks of data inside it. So these are the very basics of variables and primitive data types in Java, and we're gonna use these things extensively throughout this tutorial, and you're gonna need this everywhere. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something, and thank you very much for watching this video, and please subscribe, and if you have any questions just write this in comments. So thank you very much, and see you in the next video. Hello there, and welcome to another Java tutorial. So in this video we're going to learn how we can take user inputs in Java. So we have learned how to take how to give outputs, how to print whatever we want, and how to give outputs. But in this video we're going to learn how to take inputs from the user so that they can enter some value, and we can then process that, and then we can show the results. So in order to create an input, in order to take input, we have different options. We either can use a buffer stream class or input stream class, and other than that we have a scanner class. So using that scanner we can take inputs, and it is very easy to do that. So in order to do that, first of all we have to create an object of the scanner class. Now in order to create an object of a scanner class, first of all we have to write the name of the class, that is scanner. Then we have to write the name of the object that you want to create. Let's name it SC. So we have created an object of the scanner class named SC. Now the proper way of creating an object is to write an equal sign and then write new and the class name, that is scanner. So in order to create an object of a class, now remember, we will learn more about objects and classes later, but we have to do this here, so that is why I'm explaining a bit. So in order to create an object of scanner class, first of all we have to write the name of the class, then the name of the object, and after the equal sign we have to write the keyword new, and then again we have to write the class name, and then a pair of parentheses. So what this will do is this will create a new scanner class, and new scanner object, and then we will put that object inside this, and don't forget to put a semicolon here. Now inside this parentheses we have to put system.in. okay, as I have told you guys before that system.out, which we used in the last video, system.out creates an object of the print stream class to take outputs. The same way system.in creates an object of print stream class to take of input stream class to take input. Okay, so inside scanner we have to put that system.in so that it can understand that we are passing input stream object inside it so that it can take input. So you don't have to bog yourself with all this, you just have to write this. Now remember, whenever you write this for the very first time, what happens is you will get some errors here, because whenever we create something new in Java we have to import it from the package. So every class belongs to a specific packages. So this scanner class also belongs to a package, and we have to import that package. So all you have to do is just keep your cursor on the top of the scanner. So whenever we put your cursor on the top of the scanner, what happens is you get a lot of options. From here the first option is import scanner from java.util. So you go and click that. So what will happen is it will import the Java scanner. As you can see, it has imported it from here, and now the error has gone. Alternatively, you can also press Ctrl Shift O to print to import everything. So this is how we create a scanner. Now in order to put a value after taking input, we have to create a variable. Suppose we wanna take input of a integer variable, so I'm making an integer variable int a, and inside this I want to put the value that we are getting from the user by input. So in order to take an input we have to write the name of the object that we have created. So here we have created SC object of the scanner class, so we have to write SC, then we have to write a dot, that is we are calling a method of scanner class. And in order to take inputs of different data types we have different methods. As an example, to take input of an integer, we have to write next int. Now make sure to capitalize it properly. Okay, make sure to capitalize properly as I have done. So what next int does is it takes input of an integer. So if we want to take an input of a float, what we do is sc dot, it's getting slow, I don't know why my computer getting freeze. Okay, so next float. Okay, so whenever you wanna take an input of a float, you just put next float. First of all, let me go delete and test it here. So we are getting we are taking input and integer here. So let's go and run this program now. So whenever you run this program, here you have an option to input something. So if I write 5 and press enter, 5 is getting input in the program. But the problem is we are not getting any output, since we have not written any written any statements in our program to output this. So let's go and output this value so that we can see whatever we are entering. So let's write system.out.println, and inside that we have to write you entered, that is whatever the user have entered, and then after the closing of this the double quotation marks, just put a plus sign and then write the A. Okay, oops, I have a problem here. So what this will do is this will convert A into a string. We know that A is an integer, so this plus will convert the A into convert the value of the A into a string, and then it will add the string to you entered. So we'll get a complete sentence, you entered and the number that has been entered. So let's go and run it now. So if I run it, here I am getting an option to input something. So let's input 56, let's press enter, and it is saying you entered 56. So what is happening is we are just giving an input from the keyboard, and that is getting stored inside A, and in the next line we are printing the value of A. Now let's go and check it out with some other data types. Let's say we wanna print an character for the say. So we wanna say sc.next char, or I'm making some mistakes. sc dot I think let's do float. So I want to say next float. So what this will do is this will just I don't know why it's getting some error here. Oh, I have to change the data type here. So let's change it to float. Otherwise you cannot take the float input. So what this will do, this will take input of a float and store it inside here, and then it will concatenate it with this string. So let's go and run it now. So here is an option. Let's here write 5.65. So that is a float. So if I press enter, as you can see that it says you entered 5.65. Now we have this next method for all the data types, so that we can take input of all the data types. So this was the very basics of how to take input in Java, and also how to import a package, and also how to print something other than string using system.out.println. So I hope you guys learned and enjoyed this video. So please subscribe and don't forget to hit the like button, and if you have any questions, just write those in comments, and I will see you in the next video. So goodbye. Hello and welcome to another Java tutorial. So in this quick video tutorial, we're going to learn about comments in Java. So let's get started. Now the very first thing I'm gonna let you guys know that comments are not that useful, but sometimes they're really required. So what are comments? Comments are just some text which you want to put inside your code, but you never want your compiler to execute those codes or compile those codes. As an example, suppose I have created a variable here called int age, and I have put inside it my age. So what happens is suppose someone else just watches your program and he just can't think what this age means and why it is here. So what you can do is you can write a comment after this variable, declaration of this variable, so that everyone who reads your code can understand this. Even you will forget about your code, what you have written after a few weeks. So writing a comment beside everything is always a good practice. So suppose I write here a comment that this declares the age of the student. Okay, so this comment will just be very, very useful to you and everyone else who ever sees your code at any time, so that they can understand what this does. So there are actually two different ways to write a comment in Java. So the very first way is to write 2 slashes. So when you write 2 slashes and then after that you write anything, that becomes a comment and the compiler ignores that. So let me go ahead and write here, this is a comment. So what happens is the compiler will ignore that and it will just run everything else, and it will never run this, or it will never even check this out. Okay, because this is a comment and we don't want our compiler to be bothered with this. And there's another type of comment that's called multi-line comment. So in order to do that, you just write a slash and then put a star, and then you just put enter, and with every line the star just automatically follows. So you can write this is a multi-line comment. So what happens is whenever you want to write a lot of things spreading multiple lines, you want to use this multi-line comment. And whenever you want to just write comments beside a variable or maybe a method or anything, you just use this single line comment. As an example, before the starting of the main method, I can write a comment called the main method. The main method may be known by everyone, but suppose you create another method. Suppose I create a method and just name it method. Suppose you create another method, and now whenever someone looks at it, he doesn't know what this method does. So what you can do is you can write before it that this method. Hey there, I'm Raja and welcome to another Java tutorial. So in this video we're gonna learn about increment and decrement operators in Java. So let's get started. Now whenever we create a variable in Java, suppose I'm creating an integer variable, I'm putting a value 5 inside it. Now there may be a lot of instances where I want to increase the value by 1. As an example, suppose I want to increase the value of a by 1. So what I do is I write a equals a plus 1. So what this does is this just increments the value of a by 1 and then assigns that value into a again. For example, suppose the value of a is 5. So when evaluating the right side, we get 5 plus 1, that is 6, and we put the value 6 into a. So now the value of a becomes 6. So this is how we do it. Now we can do something else. Suppose we can decrement the value too. Suppose I have another variable b and I have a value 5 here, and I want to decrement the value of b by 1. So what I do is I write b equals b minus 1. So what happens is the same thing happens. The value of b is 5, it is decremented by 1, so it becomes 4, and the value 4 is assigned to b again, so the value of b becomes 4 now. Now we don't want to write these things again and again. There's a simpler way to do this, and that is what called an increment and decrement operator. So instead of writing a equals a plus 1, instead of that, what we can do is we can go and write a plus plus, and that's it. So what this a plus plus does is, this is called the increment operator, this plus plus operator. So what this does is, this does all the job that this whole code does. So this is basically incrementing the value of a by 1 and then assigning that value to a again. So instead of writing this whole statement, I can just write a plus plus and it will be equivalent to this. The same way we can also write decrement operator. So instead of writing this thing, what I can do is I can go ahead and write b minus minus, and this will do the same job. So let's go and print the value so that you guys can understand that if I'm lying or not. So let's go and print system.out. It's freezing. I don't know why my compiler freezing, IDE freezing. It's not responding. Please wait for a bit. Shit. Come on, yeah. So I'm gonna write println, and inside that I want to pass the value a. So what happens is, first of all, let me print the value of a before this. Okay. So what this will do is, first time this will print the value of a before incrementing, and then it will print the value of a after incrementing. So let's go and run it. Come on. I don't know why is it taking so much time today. So as you can see here, the first time when I print the value of a, because the value is 5, the value 5 is printed here. Next time whenever I print a after incrementing it, the value becomes 6, so the value that's got incremented. So this is basically what increment and decrement operator. So now the last time I want to talk about one more thing, that's pre-increment and post-increment operator. Now we can put this plus plus after a as well as before a. So both of these just increments the value of a, but in a different way. So let's go and take a look at that. So whenever I put plus plus before a, then what happens is, it again is freezing, I don't know why. So if I put plus plus before a, so what happens is the value of a gets incremented before performing any other operation. Okay, so whenever I do this, the value of a gets incremented before performing any other operation. But when I put the value plus plus after a, so what happens is, first of all, it performs any other operation in that line, and on the next line it increments the value of a. So let's take an example. Suppose I write system.out.println, and inside that I write a plus plus. Okay, so what will happen is, the value, as I've said, if I write the value plus plus after a, what happen is, first of all, it will do the operation, that is, it will print the value, and after the execution of this line, it will increment the value. So inside, in the print, whenever the value gets printed, we will not get the incremented value of a, we will get the original value of a. Okay, so let's go and run it, and if I run it, you guys can see, yes, you guys can see that first of all the value is 5, and then again after I do a plus plus, the value is 5 again, since I have told you that this first of all does the operation and then increments it. So in the next line the value of a becomes 5. But when I do plus plus a, what happens is, whenever I do plus plus a, it just increments the value at once before performing any operation. So we'll get 5 here and we'll get 6 in this line. So let's go and run it. As you can see, it gets 5 and 6. So this is basically the basics of increment and decrement operators in Java. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and hopefully you guys will subscribe to me, and thank you very much for watching. Thanks. Hello there and welcome to another Java tutorial. I'm Raja, and in this video we're gonna learn about if-else statements in Java. So let's get started. So the fundamental activity of any programming language, or basically in programming, is that we check for a condition and then we act according to that condition. As an example, suppose I have a variable called age, int age, and inside that age I have put a value. Now what I will do is I will check if age is greater than 18, then I will print you are adult. And if the age is less than 18, then I will print you are a teenager, or you are not adult at all. You are not adult. So this is why we have to check conditions mostly in each and every part of any program. So checking condition is one of the most fundamental activities of programming. So to check conditions, we use if-else statements. Okay, so let me first of all show you the basic structure of if-else statements. So first of all, we write the keyword if, and inside, and then we write a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Okay, so what happens is, inside this we write the condition, and here we write the things to do. Okay, so if the condition is satisfied, that means if the condition is true, only then we will do these things inside these curly braces. Okay, so if the condition is true, only then we'll do these things inside these curly braces. Else, if the condition is not true, we will just come out of this else we'll just come out of these curly braces and we will do whatever is after the if statement. So this whole thing is called the if statement. So if, then we'll write the condition, and inside the curly braces we'll write the condition, the things that we want to do if the condition is true. Okay, so let me check ahead the age. So I will write if age is less than 18, if age is greater than 18, then what I will do, I will write, again it's freezing. I don't know why today it's freezing, man. Yes, got it. So system.println, and I will print that you are adult. Okay, so if the age is greater than 18, then we'll print you are adult, and since the age is already 20, that is greater than 18, so it should print you are adult. So let's go and run it, and if I run it, as you can see that it prints you are adult in the console. Okay, so now we have learned about the if statements. Now let us see what happens if the condition isn't true. Okay, if this condition isn't true, then we want to do something else. Okay, so if age is not greater than 18, then we want to do something else, and that is why we write the else statement here, and then we write another pair of curly braces. So if this condition is true, do these things inside this curly brace, and if these conditions are not true, that is else, do these things. Okay, so else we will write system.out.println, and inside that I write you are not an adult. Okay, so if the age is greater than 18, then we write system.out.println you are adult, else we'll write you are not adult. Now since the age is 20, it will print you are adult, as we have seen before. Now let me go ahead and put it 10 here. So if the age is 10, now if I run it, as you can see, it prints you are not an adult. So this is the basics of if-else statements. Now remember, if the condition is true, only then these things will be evaluated. If the condition is not true, these things will not be evaluated, and the condition and the control will come after the if-else statements. Okay, so if this is not true, it will ignore that and come after that. So this is the basics of if-else statements. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something. If you have any questions, just write those in comments, and please subscribe to my channel, and I'm uploading new videos every day. And if you have any video requests, just tell me anytime. So thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video. Thanks. Hello there, and welcome to another Java tutorial. And in this video we're gonna learn about logical operators in Java. So let's get started. Now, before this video, we have learned about the if-else statements. Now, there we have learned how to check for conditions. Now there are many situations where we have to check for more complicated conditions. So in order to check for more complicated conditions, we need these logical operators. So in Java we have 3 logical operators. Let me write those inside in between comments so that you guys can see it. So we have an operator. First of all, we have the AND operator, and we write the AND operator as double ampersand sign. Okay. Then we also have the OR operator. We write the OR operator as double pipe sign. Now the pipe sign is just below the backspace key of your keyboard. Okay, just below the backspace key of your keyboard, and you have to press shift to get this. And we also have a NOT operator, and we write the NOT operator as exclamation sign. Okay, so we have 3 logical operators in Java: the AND operator, which is this, the OR operator, which is this, and the NOT operator, which is this. Now let's see how can we use these things in Java. So inside if, as you have seen that inside if, we just put a condition, we check for it if it's true. If the condition is true, then we do this. Then we do this stuff inside these braces. So here, after knowing about these logical operators, we can check multiple conditions inside an if statements. Okay, so first of all, let us learn about this AND operator. So suppose we have 2 conditions. So first of all, we write the condition 1, then we write the AND operator, and then we write condition 2, and then we do this. So if condition 1 is true and condition 2 is true, only then we'll do this. Okay, so if condition 1 is true and condition 2 is true, that means if both of them are true, only then we do this. If one of them is false, then we don't do this, we just skip this. Okay, so let's learn that with an example. Suppose I have a variable a and the value of it is 3, and I have a variable b and the value of it is 5. So let me check if a, let me put it inside, if a is less than 5 and b is greater than 3, then I want to print system.out.println yo. So what this will check is, it will check if a is less than 5, yes, a is less than 5, and b is less than 3, yes, b is less than 3. So let's go and do this. So let's run this now. As you can see, it prints yo. So that means this condition is true and this condition is also true. That is why this is executing this. Now let me go and make one of these conditions false. Suppose I make the value of a 6. So now a is not less than 5. A is 6, so a is not less than 5. So one of these conditions is false. So one of these conditions is false now. So this will check if this is true. No, it is not true. So don't execute this. Now if I run it, it will not print anything. Okay. Now if I run it, as you can see, this will not print anything because one of those conditions is false, and according to the logic of this AND operator, if one of these false, it doesn't execute this. Okay, so this is the AND operator. Now let us learn about the OR operator. So let's in between put OR operator. This is OR. So what OR does is it checks if this is true or this is true, then do this. So if one of these conditions is true, maybe one of these conditions is true, maybe other one is true, one is false, or maybe both of them is true, only then we execute this. So in order for the OR operator to execute this, one of these conditions needs to be true, only one, not two. Okay, in case of AND we had to check for that both of these conditions to be true, but in case of the OR operator, only one of them needs to be true. So here, as you can see, that a is not less than 5, so the first condition is it's freezing again. So the first condition is not true, but the second condition is indeed true. So According to the properties of OR operator, this should execute and write yo. So let me run now. As you can see, it prints yo. So this is OR operator. If one of them is true, just do this. Now finally, let us learn about the NOT operator. So what is NOT operator is, it just checks if not a greater than 5. Okay, let me put it inside another semicolon, another parenthesis. Okay, so what this will do is, a is greater than 5. Yes, a is greater than 5, but we have put a NOT inside it, so it becomes, if not a greater than 5, then do this. But a is greater than 5, so it will not do this. So let me run it now. As you can see, it doesn't do anything. Now if I write this a is less than 5, now you know that a is 6, so a is greater than 5, so this condition is false. But since we have put a NOT before this, so this will check if not a less than 5. Yes, a is not less than 5, then do this. Now if I run it, as you can see, it prints yo. So this was the very basics of logical operators in Java. I hope you guys learned something and enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, just write those in comments and I'll be happy to answer all those questions. So thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe and like this video and share it, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks. Hey guys, welcome to another Java tutorial. So in this video we're gonna learn about while loops. While loops are most widely used loops in Java. Now for those of you guys who don't know, I already have created a C++ programming tutorial series, and in that series I have a particular video named Concept of Loops, where I have discussed about loops, what are those and why do we need loops elaborately. So I would recommend each one of you to go and check that video out, and I have given a link to that video in the description of this video. Okay, so let's get started with while loops. So while loop is a specific type of loop. Loops are basically used when we want something to be repeated again and again and again. Okay, so whenever we want something to be repeated again and again and again, we use loops instead of doing that task again and again. As an example, suppose I want to print your name or my name 100 times. So instead of writing system.out.println, instead of writing this instead of writing this 1000 times, what you wanna do is, I just gonna put this inside a loop and I'm gonna print this 1000 times, and I'm gonna what can I say, and I'm gonna run that loop 1000 times so that this gets printed 1000 times, only one statement. Okay, so let's take a look at the structure of a while loop. So the basic structure of a while loop is like this. You have to write while, then inside it you have to write the condition, and then inside this you need to do things, whatever you want to do. Okay, so while, condition, and do things. So until this condition is satisfied, these things will be executed, and when this condition is not satisfied, the control will come just after while loop. So let's write here println out of while loop. Okay, so when the condition is not satisfied, this will come out of the while loop. Okay, so here it will enter the while loop. So let's write here entering the loop, and when it will what can I say, and when it will done working with the loop, it will come out here and it will print out of the loop. So at the start of the loop it will print entering the loop, and at the end of the loop it will print out of the loop, so that we can see when the loop is actually ending. Now let's come to the condition. Now we have to give a valid condition. Okay, so we have to give a condition that will actually become false after some time. if a condition doesn't get false after some time, then the loop will be executed forever and ever and ever for infinite times, and those things are called actually infinite loops, and we never want to do that. So we have to give a condition that will be satisfied for some times, and after some time it gets invalid. As an example, suppose I want to print the value create a variable a and give a value 1 here. So suppose I want to print the value of a until the value of a is less than 6. Okay, so I write while a is less than 6, that is until the value of a is less than 6, we want to do these things. Okay, and when the value of a is greater than 6 or equal to 6, we just come out of this loop. Okay, so let's go and print it here. I'm sorry for that. Let's go and I don't know what I'm doing, and here just print out the value of a. So let's see what we are doing. First of all, we are checking the condition if the value of a is less than 6. Yes, it is 1. So let's go and print the value of a, that is 1. So we are printing the value of 1. So this will go and this will execute it again. This will check the condition again. The value of a is again less than 6, so execute again. Again less than 6, execute again. Again less than 6, execute again. And the condition will never become false. So now you're getting things. As I've said before, you have to have a condition that will become false after some time. But as you can see here, the condition will never become false because the value of a is not increasing. So it will be less than 6 always. So we have to find a way to increment the value so that it becomes greater than 6 after some time and the loop becomes false. So that is why after doing all our tasks, we have to increment the value of a. Okay, so now let's see what happens. Now the condition is this. Okay, correct. So do this, enter value of a, increment it. So the value becomes now 2. Okay, so now value becomes 2. 2 is less than 6. Do it again, do it again, do it again. So finally, after some time, the value of a becomes 5. So when the value of a becomes 5, then we increment it and it becomes 6. So next time it will check the condition, it will see that 6 is not less than 6. So what it will do is it will come out of the loop since the condition is not satisfied anymore. So the So it will come out of the loop and it will print out of while loop. So let's go and run it and see what happens. I've run it, and as you can see, at first it prints entering the loop. So here is our program control and it is printing entering the loop. So then we are entering inside the loop, and inside the loop, as I have said, it is printing from 1 to 5, and after that the value of a becomes 6. Since 6 is not less than 5, the control comes out of the while loop and it prints out of while loop. So here is out of while loop. So this is the basic of a while loop. I hope you guys got the concept of while loop. Please, if you have any problem, re-watch this video again and again, and if you have any questions, just write those in comments and I'll be happy to answer those. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed and loved this tutorial. Do hit the like button and subscribe for more new tutorials. I'm uploading new tutorials every day, so thanks for watching. Hello and welcome to another Java tutorial. So in the last video we have learned about while loops, and we have also discussed about the very basic concepts of loop. What are loops? Why do we need loops? So in this video we're going to learn another loop in Java that is called for loop. Now for loop conceptually is mostly similar to the while loop, but the structure of a for loop is a little bit different. Okay, so let's get started. Now if you look clearly, if you look here, you can see that when we are using a while loop, first time we are initializing a variable. Okay, then we are checking a condition, then we are doing the things that we want, and finally we are incrementing this variable. Okay, so we are assigning the variable, that is initializing with a value, checking the condition, doing things, and finally we are incrementing the value. So in case of while loop, we had to do each one of these separately, but the structure of the for loop is a little bit different, and it is more compact, so that we can do everything at once. So that is why for loop is special. So let's see the structure of a for loop. So let me go ahead and copy this thing so that you guys can see the basic structure of for loop. Let's paste it here, and let's write here entering the for loop out of for loop. Okay, so let me go ahead and write for loop here. So the basic structure of a for loop is, you don't need this here. First of all, write for, and inside the parentheses write 2 semicolons. Okay, so here we have written for, and inside the parentheses we have written 2 semicolons. Now these 2 semicolons had divided the inner part of this parentheses into 3 parts. In the first part we are going to do initialization. Okay, first part we are going to do initialization. In the second part we are going to check the condition, and the third part we are going to increment the value of the variable. Okay, so let's do this. So first of all, let me create a variable here, int I equals 0 or 1, and then let me check the condition, I less than 6, and finally let me go ahead and increment the value, so I plus plus. So what here happened is, we have mostly the same structure as a while loop, mostly the same functionality as the while loop, but with a little bit different structure. So as you can see here, we are, in case of while loop we were initializing here, and in case of for loop we are initializing here. Then we are checking the condition here, and here we are checking the condition here, and again we are incrementing the value here, and here we are incrementing the value here. Okay, you have to write I here. Okay, println I, since we are using I in case of for loop. So now if I go ahead and run this, let's go and run this, and as you can see, it says entering the loop, that is in case this is entering the while loop, and it is out of the while loop. Then it is entering the for loop, and it does the same thing, but only the structure of the for loop is different, but the working principle and the functionality is exactly the same as while loop. So it does the same job, but using for loop makes things pretty easy, because you can do everything at once. Now the most important thing, don't forget these semicolons. If you forget these semicolons, the for loop will never run. Okay, you can forget everything, but these 2 semicolons, you need that everywhere. So this was the very basics of for loop. I hope you guys got the concept and learned something. If you have any problems, any questions, just write those in comments. And if this video really helped you, please hit the like button down below this video, and subscribe for more new tutorials every day. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video. Hey there, welcome to another Java tutorial. So in this video we're gonna learn about do while loops. So in the last videos we have learned about while loops, the concept loops, and the for loops. So those are the most popular loops, while loops and for loops. But we also have another loop in Java which is not that popular, but it is used in some situations. That is called the do while loop. The do while loop is mostly similar to while loop, but a little bit different. So let's go and learn it. So the basic structure of the do while loop is, first of all you have to write do, then within curly braces you have to do the things, and then finally you have to write while, and inside this you have to write the condition, and finally you have to give a semicolon at the end of this loop. Okay, so first of all you have to write do, then the body of the loop, and finally while, and then the condition, and and then you write a semicolon. So the very basic difference of do while loop with the while loop is, in case of while loop, first we check the condition, and then we do these things. But in case of do while loop, we first do things and then we check the condition. So that's the very basic difference between while loop and do while loop. So let's check out an example of a do while loop. So let's create another variable called b and initialize it with 1. So do the same, system dot out dot println, and inside that we're gonna print the value of b, and we check the condition of b. Why is not b less than 6? And here we're gonna, after printing the value of b, we're going to increment the value of b. Okay, so we are basically doing the same thing. Here we are first checking the condition and then we were doing these things, and here we are first doing the things and then we are checking the condition. So let's go and run it. As you can see, it does the same job. Here it printing 1 2 3 4 5, and here again it is printing 1 2 3 4 5. Now one more thing that's very important. The do while loop, the special thing about the do while loop is it will execute at least one time, each and every time, no matter whatever the condition is, no matter if the condition is satisfied or not, it will execute at least one time, always, everywhere. But that's not true for while loops and for loops. In case of while loops and for loops, if the condition is false, that is, if the condition is not satisfied, it will not even run the loop. But in case of do while loop, even if the condition is false, it will run the loop at least one time, since it first runs the things, it first runs the body and then checks the condition. So first of all, it will run it at least one time, and then if the condition is false, it will stop the execution at that point. So let's go and check out an example of that. Suppose I give the value of a 6. So 6 is not less than 6. Okay, since 6 is not less than 6, the while loop will not be executed, because it will check the condition and then it will go out of the loop. But in case of do while loop, since 6 is less than 6 but it checks the condition after doing this, so it will first of all do these things, that is, it will print the value of b once, and then it will check the condition and then it will stop the execution. So let's write here entering the while loops, entering the do while loop, so that we can understand whenever we are entering the loop. Entering the do while loop, and again print that out of the do while loop. So now we are ready, so let's go and run it. So if you guys see it clearly, you can see that entering the while loop, out of the while loop. So in between them nothing happened, because the condition is not satisfied, so nothing happened. Since 6 is not less than 6, so these things not happened. But in case of do while loop, the condition is also not satisfied, but since it first runs the body and then checks the condition, so it is entering the while loop, then it prints the value one time, prints the value once, then increments it and then checks it and checks the condition is false, and finally it comes out of the body. Okay, so this is the very basic concept of do while loop. Now remember, this is really useful in some situations, so I hope you guys will keep this handy. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you guys loved and enjoyed this video. If you really learned something from this tutorial, please do hit the like button and subscribe. I'm uploading new videos every day. So thanks for watching and have a great day.